Would you do me a favor? Would you turn that clip?
Turn it around and face the wrong way.
Yeah, it's just see, devil's in the details, boys.
There you go, details. All right, man. Yeah. Interesting. Oh, yeah, I'm sure it was.
What are you doing? You're going both ways, right? Both ways. Your time, which is very bad. You have perception of Paris too, so you get back to my things and interceptions. Return both for technology. 60.
See you later. Yeah, filled up late. Later than ever. So, ready?
What time you got?
It's 9 till.
Okay. Well, Jim's out here, so we'll save a few minutes there.
Yeah. Yeah, that will.
I hadn't had a look, but I think at one he's getting about 6 minutes, 7 minutes.
Oh, I know. I've thought on a couple of those.
I may have to tell him,
I've tried to speed up a little bit this year.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right.
I was there. Fourth quarter started after that second touchdown.
Where she said that? Yes, I meant earlier.
We're going to play more Memorial.
Hey, Scott. Yes. Where's he at? By the way, how do you pronounce his last name? Hey, there he is, dude. What's up, buddy? How are you? Yes, we good. What's up, brother? This guy's... Hey, Jeff.
Yes, I do.
Can you find the name of his book? He's going to sell it next week.
Oh, okay. It's on Black Athlete.
Yeah, can you find that out for me? Because I want to mention that before we get out of here.
next week's Hall of Fame, right, Dave?
Yes,
He's going to
yes.
sell it at the Hall of Fame?
Yes, yes. Either you can say that or remind me that I told him I would mention it.
It is just African-American athletes in Arkansas.
Will you write that down for me?
Yeah.
All right. Goodness gracious. My voice is toast. All right, can I get your attention, everybody? We're going to get started today. Great to have you here on this beautiful Monday here in Central Arkansas. You can tell my voice is a little shot. Maybe I think I talk for a living, Coach. Maybe that's why I run out of gas every once in a while, but I don't know why my voice is gone. But so great to have all of you here. Love to have Red Wolf Nation here in the audience. It's great to have all you folks from Northeast Arkansas. Proud to have Blake Anderson and the amazing job that he's doing at Arkansas State. So looking forward to a great meeting today. Gary, would you come up and lead us in a word of prayer, please?
It's great to see everybody today. I hope to see you in your Halloween costume next Monday. So come as whatever you want to, all right? Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the day you've given us to serve you. And we just ask you today to give us guidance about every step we make through life. We ask you to give us strength today. Thank you for the food that gives us strength so that we can serve you and serve others. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thanks, Gary. Appreciate that. Glad to have all of you members here, you 50-yard line members, you regular standard members. We love to have you, whether it's $75 or the 50-yard line. I did want to mention real quick, where's Renata Jenkins-Byler at? Where's Renata? Renata has been a 50-yard line member, Rex. I don't know if you know this. She has been a 50-yard line member for probably every year we've had this thing. And Renata, you buy, 8 seats a year for your employees to come here, all your staff? Exactly. Co-workers. And you know what, Rex? Guess what? She's hired my mother. My mother's not going to be working for Roller's Funeral Home. Chanel Funeral Home. Yes, how about that? So you see my mother at the Touchdown Club and at the funeral. Either one. You're covered. That's right. Renata, thank you so much for your support of the Touchdown Club and all you folks. You have such great folks over there. Anyway, I'm glad for my mother. I think it's a great opportunity. And I do want to thank all of y'all for joining. Couldn't do it without you guys and ladies. And if you haven't joined, all you folks who are Arkansas State fans, we'd love to have you here at the Touchdown Club. This is not a Razorback Touchdown Club. This is a Arkansas football Touchdown Club. High school football, college football, doesn't matter what the level. Like I said, listen, do we have the Hatchers back in the house again? Love to see the Hatchers every week. Game-winning field goal there by Lane. Great to have you back, Lane. We'll have you. Listen, we'll take you every week if you want to. But we couldn't do it without you, so thanks so much. Next week, do you know what next week is? It is the Southwest Conference Hall of Fame inductees. And real quick, if you have not heard the list, let me see if I've got it here. I may not have printed it off. I'm really discombobulated today, not having one of my better days. There we go. Freddie Marshall, Joe Ferguson, Dennis Winston, Ron Brewer, Darrell Walker, Amber Sheary, Edric Florial, Cynthia Moore, and our posthumous inductees, Steve Little, Roddy Cavaness, Jim Benton, Billy Ray Smith Sr., Ware Schoonover, and Orville Henry. So all those folks will be represented. Obviously, for the posthumous inductees, we'll have family members here. So let's have a huge turnout. And that, of course, is done with the Southwest Conference Hall of Fame, which is at the Texas Hall of Fame. So that's always a neat thing. And all those folks that are being honored will have a chance to say a few words. So if we could, love to have you out for that meeting. Then after that, you got Steve Campbell. Yeah. Coach, not only you guys tearing it up in the Sun Belt, Steve Campbell, have we heard the rankings today? Are they number 4? Is UCA number 4 in FCS? They should be number 4 in the nation in the FCS national rankings. So let's make sure November 6th and come out and really support Coach Campbell and UCA. For those of you that have friends that can't be here, before you turn off your phone, make sure and text them and tell them that you can watch this streamed live at lrtouchdown.com. You can watch it on the Touchdown Club Facebook page or the Touchdown Club app that Farm Bureau Pulaski County sponsors. So I do want to thank our sponsors real quick. Even though my voice is about shot, I'll be real quick. Twin City Limousine, Greg Hatcher, thank you so much. That's your company, and Dale Bennett do such a great job of picking up our guests. Thank you for your support. Couldn't do it without you. The Little Rock Convention and Visitors Bureau. Coach, we're proud to be called the Little Rock Touchdown Club, and I appreciate their support. CGRW, one of the best advertising, marketing, and PR agencies in the South. We appreciate Mark Raines, Dan Sawyer, and Darren Gray, Gary Heathcott for their support. They're going to get us started with the Cliff Harris Award here soon, Rex, and getting to be that time of the year. 103.7 The Buzz. I understand we had Coach Anderson and Terry Mahajer with Justin and Chris Kane today. We appreciate 103.7 The Buzz being an annual sponsor for us. Arkansas Urology. We have Tim Langford here today, and Tim, will mention you in just a minute, but always great to have you, and appreciate Scott Davis. 17 physicians, 8 locations across Arkansas. We encourage you to get tested. Who I heard this weekend that was talking about that on the national level about making sure you get your tests done. But Arkansas Urology, one of the premier places in the South. We appreciate your sponsorship. War Memorial Stadium, Rex, have a big game this Saturday. If you don't have plans here in Little Rock, you can go see UAPB versus Southern University this Saturday. Ron Davis, one of our board members, 4 o'clock. We expect to win, Ron? We expect to be there. That's a good answer, Ron.
That's the optimism.
Ron's a no player for UAPB. But that will be it's always fun to go watch a UAPB game and support them over at War Memorial Stadium. Thank you to Ron Sally, the new manager, and John Latch, the new assistant manager. Farm Bureau, Pulaski County, Shauna Hopper, Stephen Reichert, Todd Dennis. If you have any questions or you need some insurance, whether it be home, auto, life, or other, please go give them an opportunity to quote you a price and let them talk to you about all the services they offer. They do so much. Real service for real people, and we appreciate their support, and they did our Touchdown Club app. Thank you so much, Farm Bureau, Pulaski County, year 3 as a sponsor. Dairy Queen of Arkansas. Do you want to thank Blake Lively, Nelson Lively, Todd Denton. I want to encourage Rex. Rex, I want you to go by. They've got a location in Sherwood and 12th and University, and try the Flamethrower Grill Burger.
There we go.
Or the Honey Barbecue Glazed Chicken Strip Basket, or the Cheese Curds. The cheese curds. Have you tried the cheese curds? I would encourage you to try the cheese curds. But thank you to Dairy Queen and those folks. Excellent stuff over there. Jim Wealth Financial Advisors. Want to encourage you. You've heard me talk about getreadyforthefuture.com, their website. Tomorrow night here at 6:30, they're going to have a seminar called 10 Things You Need to Know Before You Retire. I know, Rex, we got some folks who are already retired in this room, if you look around a little bit, but that's okay. But if you're still managing your money, go to this thing tomorrow night. It's free of charge, free dinner, free information, no sales pitch. For tickets, getreadyforthefuture.com for that seminar tomorrow night here at the Embassy Suites. Gen Wealth Financial Advisors. Thank you guys for your support. And Big Red Stores open up a new location. Number 36, is that right, fellas? 1524 South Reynolds Road. The Buzz will be there this Thursday. Discounted gas, discounted everything, right? As Roger says, though, you never pay full price when you have a Big Red card, right? And so congratulations for store number 36. We look forward to being there on Thursday for sure. The Big Red Stores. Wright, Lindsay, and Jennings. Rex, I'll give you a question. Well, you've heard me talk about this. What year did Wright, Lindsay, and Jennings begin? Can you tell me?
1920s.
What was that? I believe it's 1900. It's 117 years old. Can you believe that? So they have offices in Little Rock, Northwest Arkansas, over 70 attorneys. They have expertise in every imaginable area. We thank Wright, Lindsay, and Jennings for sponsoring us and, of course, doing the Cliff Harris Award. Thank you to Judy Henry and her leadership over there at Wright, Lindsay, and Jennings. Also, Crane Automotive. Thank you, Larry Crane, Chris Crane, Drew Dees. 17 dealerships across Arkansas, 900 employees. Go by, and if you're looking for a vehicle, ask them and tell them you're a Touchdown Club member, and they should take real good care of you. The Democrat Gazette, Wally Hall and Amanda Copley. Amanda, thank you so much. Looking forward to meeting our All-Arkansas Preps Player of the Week. Wait till you hear this per carry average. It's amazing the guys that we're getting in here. We mentioned Lane Hatcher last week throwing for 18,000 yards in the game, and this week we have a running back who has an unbelievable average as well. And, of course, we couldn't do this without Simmons Bank. Adam Mitchell, Chris White, thank you for being such a great supporter. We appreciate you guys being here. Coach Anderson, you can't do it without great supporters. And to have Simmons as our presenting sponsor now, again, they've really helped us raise the level. So I encourage you to give them some of your business if you don't give them all your business like I do. But thank you, Chris. Thank you, Adam, for being such a great supporter. Let's please give a round of applause for Simmons Bank and all of our great sponsors here at the Touchdown Club. I know Barry Ledbetter is about as big as ASU guy as you can, and you guys give up some of your Simmons seats to take care of your ASU folks today. So, Barry, thanks for your support for the ASU folks. Do want to thank all of our Touchdown Club team, everybody here at the Embassy Suites. Matt Johnson, Local Fidelity 6. He's still streaming everything, even though we don't have our screens up here. You can see it on all those apps that I talked about, those applications to see Coach Anderson today. Dwayne Duncan, who handles our photography. Thank you, Dwayne, for doing such a good job. RJ Hawk, who's doing our social media. I don't know if he brought little Addison or not. There he is right there. I've asked him the next time he doesn't come unless he brings little Addie, his new got to have the quiet room. He said, we can't bring in this baby unless we have a quiet room here at the Touchdown Club. But at LR Touchdown Club is the Twitter account if you want to follow us on Twitter. Thank you, RJ, for your support. And our amazing check-in ladies and all the guys who set up the ballroom. This is a team effort. Coach Anderson, it's the same thing that you do with your team. All these people that I just named off, we can't do this thing, can't look like this without everybody participating. And those ladies get here every Monday, check in everybody for free 2 hours before the meeting. Ann Jansen, Wes Sutton, you always give of your time. Let's give them a round of applause for always being willing to help. I love our team. I could put our Touchdown Club team against anybody. I'm just telling you. Come on, Mobile and Atlanta with all your fancy, all your many years of doing your Touchdown Club, but we've got the best. All right, it is time for our All-Arkansas Preps Player of the Week. He's Perryville sophomore running back Hunter Tyndall. Now, Hunter, this was 2 weeks ago, rushed for 207 yards and 4 touchdowns, which sounds like a good day, right? Pretty good day at the office. He did it on 11 carries, which comes out to 18 yards a carry, right at 19 yards a carry. This was in Perryville's 42-34 victory over Paris at home. Now, they won this past weekend, so Perryville is now 7-1 overall, 5-0 in the 4-3A. He had scoring runs of 11, 21, 22, and 45 yards. He also wanted me to let you guys know. He said, hey, listen, don't you forget I play both ways. I've had back-to-back interceptions in both games, a 60-yard return for an interception 2 weeks ago, and a 45-interception-yard return this past weekend. And then, of course, I asked him. I just looked at him, and sometimes you just sort of sense. I said, are you a 4.0 student? And he said, yeah. And so what a fine young man. So let's give a Touchdown Club welcome to Hunter Tyndall, our All-Arkansas Preps Player of the Week. Coach Anderson, you never know. I don't know what the NCAA rules are, but don't say anything, just here to talk. Wouldn't that be cool if 4 years from now, you saw Hunter running up in Jonesboro for you? But can't comment on that. I know that. I do want to recognize his mom, Erica, his sister, Haley. He brought one of his teammates, Hunter Lawrence. And I asked his teammate, Hunter, I said, are you a 4.0 too? You know what the answer was? Yes. Then I asked his sister, Haley, are you 4.0? Yes. So God bless you, Erica, Mama, because whatever you're doing, let's welcome them. Please give them a round of applause. Their head coach, Ed Baker, couldn't be here today, but congratulations, Hunter, continued success. Also, as I mentioned, Lane kicked a game-winning field goal. You're doing everything with your arms, your feet, and then you go in the last play of the game and kick a winning field goal against, was it Sylvan Hills? Parkview. Well, a great game. But congratulations to you. Always great to have you back at the Touchdown Club. And without further ado, now listen, you heard what Bob Stoops said last week, Rex. Keep the opponent stuff to a minimal. Right? Is that what Bob Stoops said last week? Let's get up for Rex Nelson, everybody.
All right, I'm going to keep the opponent stuff to a minimum. I'm not going to talk much about Louisiana Lafayette because they were the opponent, right? All right, now, I told Coach I wasn't going to do this, David, because I figure there may be some people that have lost their sense of humor by this point in the season, but I decided, what the heck? I don't know if you're probably aware that the legislature last week approved the funding for ULR to do a study on the potential of football. If they were, they, of course, would be an Arkansas State Conference opponent. John Brummett, our old friend Brummett, tweeted that he was asked his position on UALR football, and his position was Little Rock should not have a football program until Fayetteville does. So, that's Brummett, not me. just repeating what I read, guys. All right, now, do let me make a serious point. Because as David said, we're a touchdown club. There is a lot of good college football being played in Arkansas this fall. I want you to think about these numbers. There are 10 non-Power 5 NCAA college football programs in the state. Those 10 programs are a combined 48 and 26 right now. 5 have at least a share. 5 of the 10 have at least a share of their conference lead right now. How about that? Football in Arkansas. 8 of the 10 have winning records right now. 1 is at 500. Only 1 of those 10 have a losing record. Ron, you're letting us down. But 8 of the 10 have winning records, and 5 of the 10 have at least a share of their conference lead. So a lot of good football in Arkansas. We'll start with ASU 47, Louisiana Lafayette 3 on Thursday night. Just a blowout. Justice Hanson, 396 yards of offense, including 121 on the ground. Red Wolves go to 3-0 in conference. And yes, Coach, I picked you in every one of them. He got on me a little bit last year. Picked them in every one of them. You're helping my percentage right now. 4-2 overall. Louisiana Lafayette drops to 3-4 and 2-2. It was the largest ASU margin of victory over a Sun Belt opponent since 2012. Hanson 23 of 37 passing, 275 yards, and the ASU defense even scored for a second consecutive game. I'll let Coach handle the rest, but an outstanding performance on Thursday night. Only ones upset about that was ESPN, because people probably thinking this one's over by halftime. Red Wolves really came out and took control. As David said, UCA having an outstanding season. They moved to 6-1 overall, 5-0 in the conference, 45-17 at Northwestern State down in Natchitoches, Louisiana. It was the 6th consecutive Bear victory. There were 2 lengthy lightning delays that made that game go almost till midnight. It was tied at 10-10 in the second quarter, but then the Bears pulled away. Hayden Hildebrand is their quarterback, 12 of 20 passing, 306 yards, 3 TDs. Carlos Buckman rushed 23 times for 130 yards and 3 TDs for the Bears. Now, on to the Great American Conference, where this is going to be fun. They've only got 3 weeks left in their regular season, and there's a 4-way tie at the top right now with 3 weeks left. Ouachita, SAU, Arkansas Tech, and Southeastern Oklahoma all 6-2. UAM and Harding are 5-3. Henderson's 4-4. SAU trounced Southeastern Oklahoma 49-19 down in Magnolia to give the Savage Storm their second consecutive loss. They've got a good quarterback down there. His name's Barrett Renner. He was 20 of 31 passing, 306 yards, 3 touchdowns. Mule Riders had 572 yards of offense compared to just 284 for Southeastern. Michael Nunnery had 112 yards rushing and 3 TDs for the Mule Riders. Meanwhile, Ouachita took it easy on Gary's alma mater, Oklahoma Baptist. Oklahoma Baptist falls to 0-8, 52-14. Put the subs in at halftime so we wouldn't score 100 on you, Gary. Drew Harris out of Benton, Chris Oliver out of Arkadelphia, Shunsey Thomas out of Bossier City, Louisiana. Each had 2 rushing touchdowns. There's 6 rushing touchdowns right there. Ouachita outgained Oklahoma Baptist 632 to 415, so more than 1,000 yards of offense in that game. Arkansas Tech beats Northwestern Oklahoma 66-10. That was the largest margin of victory for Tech since beating Ozark 60-0. Yes, Ozarks used to have football. 60-0 back in 1960. Tech had 309 yards rushing against 3-5 Northwestern. Harding, talk about them every week. Remember, they started 0-3. They've now won 5 consecutive games. 42-0 over 2-6 Southwestern Oklahoma. Second consecutive shutout for the Bisons. Harding started the game with 2 safeties and a 4-0 lead. They thought it was baseball when I saw the score come across. Harding outrushed Southwestern 272-87 and break up the Weevils. UAN won its 3rd consecutive game. 35-23 over 3-5 Southern Nazarene. Quarterback Cole Sears was 8 of 14 passing for 127 yards and 3 touchdowns. So you had the 6 Arkansas teams all playing at home against 6 Oklahoma teams. and Arkansas went 5-1. And R.J. Henderson just continues to confound me. I talk about this every week. One of the strangest things I've ever heard of. Henderson has won 30 consecutive road games. That is the longest winning streak in college football at any level for road games. The Reddies, though, have now lost 5 consecutive home games. They lost to a 1-6 team. East Central Oklahoma came in 1-6. It was Henderson's homecoming, and they lost 24-16. Reddies trailed 24-3 at the half. The bad news is they're home on Saturday for their game. NAIA football line moves to 3-5, 1-4 with a 21-14 victory over 0-8 Texas Wesleyan. Now, on to the SEC, and David, as I said a few weeks ago, I'm going to make this fast. It's like swallowing castor oil. It's going to go down real fast. Auburn, 52, Arkansas, 20. Auburn moves to 6-2, 4-1. Arkansas, 2-5, 0-4. Arkansas has now lost 7 consecutive games to Power 5 opponents. Auburn scored on its first 3 possessions of the second half to turn a 17-6 halftime lead into a rout. Arkansas, 0-4 in the SEC for a 5th time, 1996, 2005, 2012, and 2014. Auburn, with 629 yards, topped 600 yards of offense against Arkansas for a 2nd consecutive year. All right, that's it. Did it real fast, didn't I? We're moving on. Alabama moves to 8-0, 5-0 in the conference, 45-7, excuse me, over Tennessee, which falls to 3-4 and 0-4. They've got an unhappy fan base, too, believe me. Alabama now 11-0, in fact, under Nick Saban against Tennessee. Alabama outgained Tennessee. I want you to catch this number, 604 to 108. 604 to 108. Ole Miss, this week's opponent, falls to 3-4 overall, 1-3 in the conference, 40-24 loss to LSU, and the Rebels lose quarterback Shea Patterson for the rest of the season to a knee injury. He had come into the game leading the SEC in passing yardage. LSU is 6-2 overall, 3-1 in conference. They've won 3 straight now in conference since that non-conference loss at home to Troy that had people wanting to hang Coach O. Darius Geis rushed for 276 yards, so maybe that bodes well for the Arkansas running game on Saturday. Mississippi State goes to 5-2, 2-2 in the conference, 45-7 thrashing of Kentucky. They don't care basketball practice has started, but Kentucky is also 5-2 and 2-2. Bulldogs finished with 441 yards of offense. They never trailed in that game in Stark Vegas. Nick Fitzgerald ran for 115 yards, and he passed for another 155 yards for Mississippi State. And poor old Missouri, they finally found somebody to pick on. They're 2-5 now. They beat 2-5 Idaho, 68-21. Quarterback Drew Lock completed 23 of 33 passes for 467 yards and 6 touchdowns. So this week in the SEC, Arkansas at Ole Miss, Florida versus Georgia in what they call the world's largest outdoor cocktail party in Jacksonville, Florida. Tennessee at Kentucky, Mississippi State at Texas A&M, Missouri at Connecticut, and Vanderbilt at South Carolina. Here in the state, huge game in Conway, McNeese State at UCA. You've got Southern versus UAPB, as mentioned, here at War Memorial Stadium. You've got SAU at Henderson. You've got UAM at Ouachita, and both those games will go a long way to determining the conference champion. So games in Conway, here in Little Rock, and 2 to choose from in Arkadelphia, the garden spot of Arkansas. So get out and see a college football game on Saturday. Thanks, everybody.
My phone, one other note, if you're a Razorback fan, not a good note. I just got text several, I guess this is breaking news. Probably the Razorbacks' best player, Frank Ragnow, is not going to be available for the rest of the year. He has injured his ankle, so he is gone. So the bad news continues for Brett Bielema. Hey, real quick, I don't know if I mentioned, let's give a round of applause to Debbie Wyman, our executive director, who does such a good job for us, everybody. Let me, too, before we bring Coach up, let me acknowledge some ASU folks that are here real quick, if you don't mind. First, I'm going to start with some old players. I'm going to mention these guys. This was a guy who played offensive guard under Larry Lacewell. Goes in to play for the Broncos. He and his teammate Matt Braswell. Now, Matt Braswell played at Georgia under Vince Dooley. These two guys ended up playing for the Denver Broncos. Ken Armbrust and Matt Braswell. Are you guys here? Please stand. Let's recognize them. Are they here? Here they are. Let's give them up. Yeah, there they are. Then you got another offensive guard who played for Larry Lacewell, and also a center who played for Coach Bobo, Tommy Walker and Jason Bennett. Are those guys here? Where are they at? There they are right there. Oh, my glasses on. We also have Taylor Stockamere and Philip Butterfield. There they are in the back. Give them there they are. Both former players. And this is one I was really looking forward to introducing. I think this may be, this is the second time, although Barrett Jones's guest was not his wife, it was his fiance. That's right. So very rarely do we get the wives of our speakers here. But how fortunate are we, Blake, to have your wife who, as you know, it was publicized as battling breast cancer. My understanding it is now in remission. You beat it. Let's give it up for Wendy Anderson, everybody. Send out, Wendy. How about that? Yeah, if anybody deserves it, there we go. That's exactly right. So great to have you here, Wendy, and what I've read, you've been a great inspiration to so many, and we're honored to have you here today. Thank you so much. I do want to make mention, let's hold your applause so we get everybody. Director of Athletics, please stand. Terry Mahajer, who does, where's Terry? Stand up for a second. Hold on, let's stand up. Jerry Scott, who is a longtime sports information director, does a terrific job. With the ASU System Office, Julie Bates, Shane Broadway, and Jeff Hankins. Come on. Brad Phelps. Come on, Brad, stand up. And Dr. Tim Langford, as we already mentioned with Arkansas Urology, he also is on the Board of Trustees. Let's give these folks a round of applause for being here. They do a tremendous job for ASU. Jim Rasco is not here, so I'm going to just quickly introduce Coach real quick. All I got to say is that one of the cool things about Coach Anderson, some people don't know he was born in Jonesboro, of all places. Played his ball at Grant Taft. You and I barely missed each other. I'm a little bit older than you. You were there in '87. Going to play at Sam Houston State, finished your collegiate career there. Goes on to a very successful assistant coach, most notably Larry Fedora at Southern Miss and at North Carolina. But I want to let you know, this is what he's done. He's followed the one-year successful hires of Terry Mahajer and Hugh Freeze, Gus Malzahn, Brian Harsin, all won conference championships. But listen to this. So Coach's first year at ASU, he's 7-6. He's 5-3 in the conference. That's ties for fourth. Goes to a bowl game, the GoDaddy Bowl. The next year, 9-4, 8-0 in the Sun Belt. Goes to the New Orleans Bowl. So you win another conference championship. Last year, 8-5 in the conference, 7-1. Wins another conference championship. This year, he's 4-2, 3-0 in the conference. So his 4 years at ASU, he is 23-4 in the conference. And so, yeah, that's worth a round of applause. We joked about how nice it is to have the same ASU coach year after year, and not only that, one who's winning championships. Let's give it up, everybody. Blake Anderson.
Welcome. Thanks, sir. Well, good to be back for the fourth year. A lot of you guys would have never bet on that one a few years ago. I'm not going to ask you for a show of hands, but I can promise you there's more of you would have lost money than would have won money on whether or not I've been back for 4 years. But it is good. But now it gets harder. Come back 4 years in a row, I don't have any new stories. Y'all know everything about me. I don't have any, I tried to find some good stories on Baz. You look on the internet, all you see is just pretty pictures of them. You don't get any good stories. So
I will say real quick, Coach, when he got the ball, he said, I can't find many places. I'm just going to put my name ahead on top of Dicka, Spurrier, and Stoops just to make things right.
What I told him was as soon as I sign it, it's going to devalue that ball by a bunch, what I told him. So, but yeah, I don't, you're kind of running out of things to tell you. You've heard my life story the first year I was here. Told you all the woes year one, about how bad we were last year. We get here, we're 0-4 and struggling. And even Rex isn't picking us, but he learned to pick us. But this year I brought a diversion. I brought my wife. I figured if y'all could see how pretty my wife was, you'd be thinking the whole time, how did he get her? You wouldn't really be listening to me anyway. Here's something you need to know. She asked me out, just so you guys know. She asked me out. We were running a little bit late today, and I apologize. Hopefully we didn't hold anything up. We were flying down today, and I was having trouble trying to figure out which conference championship ring to wear. So, well, it gets worse. It gets worse. So I decided to wear them both. We flew privately, and there's a weight limit. And so we unfortunately had to take them both off. They're too big. They weigh too much. So I had to leave them at home. But anyway, what he did not tell you about my wife is we will have been married 25 years in December. And she's my best friend. She's been through this. Her dad was a high school football coach, and she married me anyway. And little did she know now that 25 years of marriage would be 12 different cities and 20 different houses. 20 different houses. So you guys that love packing and unpacking, we could write a book about it. So, we're having a blast. Now, I really don't have any good stories for you for Baz. I tried even to pull up some on Rex, but the internet wasn't around when he was younger, so it wasn't anything good. But I do have a good story for you. I do have a good story. Last week, I had a chance we could do community service from time to time. There in the community, we go to a lot of the elementary schools and junior high schools, and we read to the kids. So I took a group of guys to one of the local elementary schools this last week, second grade class, and I walk in, and immediately I walk in the door, and there is Razorbacks posted everywhere. Now, I'm in Jonesboro, and in my backyard, there's Razorback pictures all over the place. And so we do our reading, and we do everything. And a couple times I say something to the teacher. I said, it'd be nice to have a couple Red Wolf logos around. And she says, well, look, I'm a Razorback. I'm sorry, I'm a Razorback. Matter of fact, my whole class, they're all Razorbacks. I said, really? Is that right? She said, yep, I'll tell you. I'll show you. She said, everybody in the class who is a Razorback, please raise your hand. Well, there's about 30 kids in this class, second grade class. Everybody but one raises their hand. Everyone, and quick, like they've been trained to do so. All right? There's one little girl. One little girl does not raise her hand. And I, kind of made my heart big. Asked her name. Her name was Jenny. And I said, Jenny, are you not a Razorback? She said, oh, no, I'm a Red Wolf. I'm a Red Wolf. And that made me feel even better. Well, the teacher wasn't real fired up about this. She said, Jenny, now why are you a Red Wolf? She said, well, my mommy's a Red Wolf, and my daddy's a Red Wolf, so I'm a Red Wolf. Teacher said, you don't have to be exactly what your parents are. I mean, you could do your own thing. What if your parents were both losers? She said, well, then I'd be a Razorback. Is it too soon? Is it too soon? I'm sorry. Hey, it's just a joke. Come on. It's just a joke. All right. Just so y'all know, hey, Brett has become a really good friend of mine. I reached out to him this week. Something you don't know about Brett is just as big as he is, he's got just as big a heart. All right. He reached out every week to check on my wife over the last 6 months. And I know he's going through a lot. But this is a tough business, and he's a good dude. At the end of the day, he's a good dude, and so I'm picking at you. Hopefully I didn't make any of you too terribly mad. Y'all didn't like me anyway. It's okay. Okay, so what's happened since last year? I came and spoke to you last year, and we were going through a rough time. We'd gone 0-4, so we'd been there, and that's not used. Arkansas State fans aren't used to 0-4. I'm not used to 0-4. Never been through it in my life, but I'm happy to say we rebounded from it. We learned from it. We got better. We went on to win a share of our second title, 5 in 6 years, and go on to a bowl game and win the Cure Bowl. Hard to believe that when we're at the Cure Bowl, never crossed our mind we're going to be living that every day. But we beat UCF. We're the last team on the continent to beat UCF. Those guys are rolling right now, top 25, and playing really good football. Maybe even more importantly than that, we finished with the highest GPA we'd ever had in school history at a 2.9 and graduated 28 seniors. So a lot of good things happened since the time I saw you last. Now, it wasn't all easy. It was a lot of work, but really proud. And maybe, people talked to me after the bowl game. Wendy, I remember asking me, said, you just look tired. you just look tired. I mean, you just won a bowl game. We just won another conference title. It was the most exhausting season and career of my life. But we learned a ton about it, and it's made our team and our program better. But we just continue to try to battle to get better. And a lot of what we learned last year has carried us into the offseason. Went through the spring and had to decide about what to do with my staff. Really, for the first time since being a head coach, had to make some tough decisions. We did not perform as well as we wanted to a year ago offensively. We just weren't all on the same page, and luckily we had a great defense, and we just found a way not to turn the ball over, but really had to step in the spring and decide what to do with my offense. And so I decided to, with a lot of prayer and a lot of thought, a lot of talk with Terry and people I really trust, decided to take over the offense and get back in and run it. And so we made a lot of changes in the spring. The staff did a great job of picking up with me and really helping me kind of revamp what we're doing. And happy to say right now that we're top 10 in the country in scoring. We're leading our conference in scoring as well. And our quarterback, as you can hear, is playing lights out. And we're getting better offensively, which is what we desperately needed to do to be the type of team we want to be. So, I mean, that move wasn't easy. It wasn't one that I made lightly. But also got to give a tremendous amount of credit to Buster Faulkner, who was my coordinator, that stood in right by me, moved to another position, did it with class, been a professional about it, has helped me every step of the way, and we've gotten better. And so that was a lesson I had to learn as a head coach. That's not an easy one, to shift guys around and move people around once you've hired them. And so really happy with where that's moving and what we're doing in terms of what we're doing offensively. Defensively, we just keep playing lights out. Joe Carlton's doing a great job. We're top 10 in the country in tackles for a loss, top 10 in the country in sacks. I mean, Javon Rowland-Jones is fourth all-time in NCAA. He only needs 8 more sacks this year to break the record. I mean, think about what that'll mean for the university. What that means for the A-State brand to have an all-time leader in NCAA history as a sack. I mean, and he's going to get there. I mean, every week it's 2, 3. They keep single blocking him. We appreciate it. Go ahead. All you want to, try to single block him if you can. But, that was we're continuing to improve in a lot of ways. The thing that's been unique for this particular season, this game, this group, is we did graduate 28 seniors. And we were already behind in scholarship numbers from me being the 5th head coach in 5 years. We have 42 new players on our football team. 42 new players. That sounds more like a junior college than a high school type team than it does a college team. You normally just don't have that. Normally 20, 25 new players. To have double that number, you can see where that kind of hurt us early in the year. We weren't quite ready. We went to Nebraska, took them down to the wire, but we had 9 drop catches, 3 drop touchdowns, and 2 dropped interceptions, and I think about 20 missed tackles. You look back, back then you think, man, we weren't a very good football team. We got close but couldn't get it done. You look back to Thursday night, man, we've improved in every area. We had less than 10 missed tackles. We found a way to create turnovers, had more tackles for a loss than we've had in any other game, and obviously offensively we put a lot of points on the board. And really it just comes down to one thing. This group of guys is willing to work. I mean, they've come ready to work 4 straight weeks in a row. They're working their tails off. No matter how bad it looked at times, no matter how good it looks at times, they just kind of come back to work with the same attitude. It's been a lot of fun to watch this group of guys improve. We had to replace the entire offensive line, 5 starters, all brand new, never played it down. That's not ever any fun. Defensively, same thing. The entire back end and secondary, and replace an NFL will linebacker and an NFL defensive end. Those aren't easy. But you look up 5 weeks into the season, 6 weeks into the season, and we're starting to look like a pretty good football team. Now, if you hadn't come watch us play yet, you need to. And we don't play at home for a couple weeks, but we'll be back home in a few weeks. And I really believe if this group of guys will just continue to work, continue to improve, we have a chance for a very special, special year. Now, we do go on the road this next week to New Mexico State. You guys here locally have probably had a chance to see them. Played Arkansas earlier in the year. They're one of the top scoring teams in the country. Tyler Rogers, I think, is number 4 in passing offense at their quarterback. Got the best running back in the league. This will be one of those challenges that you really hard to prepare for. You go on the road to a place that will not have that dynamic home environment like we have. Won't be many people there. It's out in the middle of nowhere. If you've ever been to Las Cruces, there's no good way to get there. You either go through Albuquerque, you go through El Paso, neither of which are right next to Las Cruces. This will be a huge challenge. This weekend will say a lot about our football team. We're 3-0 in conference play. We control our own destiny. Tied with App State, who is really kind of on the other side of the league in the sense that we don't play each other this year. And so all we got to do is just take care of us. But it has been fun. It's been a fun process to handle. You know, that's all kind of on the field stuff. Obviously, our off the field story has been pretty much publicized. You got a chance to meet my wife. You got a chance to kind of hear if you've listened to articles. One of the most enjoyable things to go through, considering that we're going through something we never prepared for, we never planned for. We just always knew it happened to other people. But when Winnie was diagnosed with breast cancer, I mean, we were kind of, what do we do now? and I kind of feel like God was talking to me again in my ears, like, you talk about faith, family, and fun and all the time. The question is, are you really going to live it? Are you really about that? Is it just something you put on a billboard? Is it something that you put on the side of a note you send out, or do you really live it? And I tell you what we did. We clung to God. We clung to each other, and just the enormous amount of support from Jonesboro, from the Red Wolf Nation, really from the state and from the coaching community has been overwhelming to watch how we've battled through, how she's battled through the last 6 months. You know, people always try to talk, well, he'll only be here for a little while, or he'll be gone after 1 year. People have always tried to estimate when I was coming and when I was going. And I kept telling them, guys, I'm right where God wants me to be, right where I want to be, and I absolutely love it. And it never was more evident than this year going through what we've been through. And it's not over with yet. We're not done with it. We're still fighting it every day. We're praising the Lord for the great bill of health that we got. We know that at any moment it could pop back up, and we're going to be fighting it again. There's people all over the country that are battling it. This is that month where you see a lot of people wearing pink. It's never been more close to home than it was this last week when we wore it, and it's right there in our house. But I would say this. I'm exactly where God wants me to be. I wouldn't have wanted to go through this with her, with any other group of people than the people that reached out to us this year. It's been a blessing to be around a great support group of people like Terry Mahajan and our staff, our fan base, and watching our players, watching my guys text her and text me on a daily basis, either a scripture or a story or a prayer or just a how's mama doing today. Nothing, it's worth anything in the world to see that done. So I would just tell you, man, if you're one of those people who's trying to decide how long I'm not going to be there, hey, we're having a blast. Love what we're doing. We're getting better every day. This football team will even be a year from now than it is right now. I work for great people. And if you haven't come to see Arkansas State, if you haven't been to Jonesboro in a while, and if you haven't seen what the house that Terry's built, it's beautiful and even getting better. Hopefully here in the next month, we'll be even talk about another groundbreaking in terms of what we're doing. It's a fun place to be, and it's a great brand. Hopefully those in the room, you're proud to wear that state logo today when you drive around and walk around Little Rock. Now, before I get off the stage, I'd be happy to answer any questions, and I've already seen Baz. He's already writing them down. So if you don't jump in with one, he's going to ask me one.
I'm first.
I told you.
Matt,
see what I mean?
Are we hot, Matt? Okay. Yeah. First, Coach, want you just, looking back, it's been a few weeks, the disappointment of missing the opportunity to have Miami on your campus. That's one. Number two, the importance of Little Rock recruiting. I know we have some Sister Arkansas kids here in the audience, and you also had Freddie Knighton, who was a PA kid. The importance of Little Rock recruiting, and I'd just like to hear too. What do you sell a kid about ASU and about Jonesboro and about your program?
Well, that's the easiest one. I'll just start in reverse. Number one, what don't you sell? 5 championships in 6 years. The only study abroad program in the country. Terry Mahajer is the one that built that from the ground up. We actually send our senior athletes to study abroad for 18 days, all expenses paid. It puts them in the top 1% of all graduating seniors across the country, because only 1% of students get a chance to do that. Some of the best facilities on the planet, from a brand new med school to a great business department. And again, it just gets better and better every day. When you can win, when you get a great education, when you get to do something nobody else gets to do in the sense of the study abroad program, 100% job placement, 3 years in a row, going on 4, and NFL players 20 years in a row. I mean, why wouldn't you want to come? We're doing all the things you want to do in terms of a college career. In terms of in-state recruiting and Little Rock recruiting, we start at home every year. We offered 18 players in the state of Arkansas this past year. Now, we don't get 18 of them. Those are guys being recruited across the country. Some of them are playing for the Hogs. Some of them are playing throughout the SEC, the Big 12. A few of them sprinkled through Group of 5 teams. We fill up, and when we fill up, and some of those spots are full, some of them aren't. We do have a true freshman in-state starting nose guard in Hunter Morton, which is pretty cool. That doesn't happen very often, regardless of what state you're from. But we do always start at home. We make all our early offers in the state, and then we recruit our tails off. Now, we have not beat the Hogs head-to-head on an in-state recruit yet, but it's going to happen. Don't know when. Maybe it's this year. I don't know. We're going to beat them head-to-head. We have done a better job of holding off the other programs coming into the state, and some of those guys are difference makers for our football team. And so we're always gonna do a great job there. In terms of the Miami game, and by the way, that's 3 questions. He said 2, but it's really 3. He doesn't count very well. It's all right. That's why he's on the radio. Miami game. You know, I think it's hard to put a number on that. You know, we were basically at a sellout for that game. The national exposure of having a national brand at our place was going to be huge. Whether you win or lose, and I felt good about our chances to take those guys to the wire. We were prepared for it. What it does, you know, my biggest thing is that there are kids on our roster who have been looking forward to that game for 3 years. And our fan base was excited about that. Terry had worked hard to get that game. That doesn't just happen. That takes a lot of work. And to lose that for our community was you know, that was devastating. But you know, it's just like anything else, man. You got to deal with it and move on. And I think our kids and our community have done a great job. Well, that, I mean, Terry's the one that has to probably deal with the ramifications more than anybody, just financially, because that's a lot of money that has a chance to be in our community and help our program that we don't get. So makes his job harder, but you wouldn't hear him gripe about it. Anybody else? Any other questions I can answer for you at all? Yes, sir.
I had read something where when you were at New Mexico, you considered your job on the line when you coached against New Mexico State. Now that you're coaching against New Mexico State Saturday, how have you evolved as a coach from then?
Well, you know, that was an in-state rival, and you're right, it was. It was on the line. That was not a game you wanted to lose, and if I'm not mistaken, New Mexico State's gotten to Mexico the last couple of years. Yeah, I think I've changed night and day. You know, my wife would tell you I actually got out of coaching for a couple of years because of the changes I needed to make. I was a workaholic. I was a first in, last out. It was all about my career and career elevation. And, you know, I took a couple of years away and really worked on my marriage, worked on my relationship with Christ and my family. And we're back in it and having more fun than we've ever had. Now, I still want to win on Saturday. That is I've never changed my competitive nature. I'm the most competitive person I think you'll find on the planet. But I promise you, what we've been through since then to now and what we've been through in the last year, I cherish every day that I get. I enjoy my family. It's one of the reasons my wife is here with us today. We're going to spend as much time as we can doing this journey together. We don't mind calling our kids anymore. We've got 2 of them at ASU, one of them there at the high school. Their phone rings a lot. We used to not want to intrude on their time. We intrude all we want to now. All right, we're going to enjoy every minute of it we can.
You had that very impressive game Thursday. I watched it just a couple of weeks ago. You had another Thursday night game, right? So you had a big victory.
Wednesday night game. We play pretty much every night of the week but Saturday. Well, here's what I would tell you. Number one, they're not asking me. They just tell me typically, you're playing on Thursday night. I mean, we really have very little to do with it. I think the one bonus to be in that game is that brand is bigger that night than any other. You know, on a Saturday, you're competing with hundreds of games across the country. And you maybe don't turn to our game when you've got so many other options. But on a Tuesday night, on a Wednesday night, on a Thursday night, we get a chance to be maybe the only game or one of 2 games on. And if we play well and we show well in that environment, which we've been very fortunate to do, it builds our brand. And that's all we're about. We're in a position where we have to go into everybody else's backyard to recruit. Unfortunately, there's not enough of a population and football population in the state for us to just stay at home. We have to go into 11 different states. So if our brand can go into those TVs and into those living rooms and show the great things we have to offer, it builds our program. And that's what we're doing gradually. We're not there yet. We're getting closer. We talk about building a monster. Guys, it is a process, but those games have helped us. They're hard for our community because it's a tough. We don't sell as many tickets on a Thursday night as we do on a Saturday. But what it does for the brand nationally and what it does in recruiting, it really does help us in a lot of ways. So it's a give and take, but we don't get a lot of choices either. They tell us to play, we play typically. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
First of all, thanks for Thursday night. Let them hang around a little more than I like.
I'll try to work on that.
Justice Hanson, how close is he to being at 100% of who he can be as a quarterback?
Well, 100% healthy, but as he can be as a quarterback, I mean, he's improving daily. I think he's improved a great deal from last year, but sky's the limit on how good he can be, honestly, overall. He would just tell you, repetition is a quarterback's best friend. The more you do something, the more comfortable you get at it. You learn from past mistakes. He rarely makes the same mistake twice. He's a very quick learner. He's really starting to love what he's doing. He really feels comfortable with the offense. But, he has every skill set that you need. As we continue to work on him, technically he's going to get better and better. As you can see, he's a big guy, very strong and mobile. But I would hate to even try to put a cap on how good he can be. The sky's the limit because he will work, and he has a tremendous set of skill set, and he's just a very humble guy. Doesn't think about individual notoriety or statistics at all. He just wants to be the best player, help his team win, and to me, that's one of the best assets you got.
I got a couple more questions, Coach. Go ahead.
Coach, I was up last Saturday, had a chance to hear your assistant coach address the recruit that came in. Quite impressive. I'm telling you, that family commitment you're trying to build there, that value, that core belief, and the Christian values. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you guys are doing there and what you hope to see happen?
Well, probably it'd be hard to say. Probably Trooper Taylor was the one talking. That'd be my guess because he's always talking. Trooper and I were together at Baylor 30 years ago, and he hadn't stopped talking since. We do talk. I'm very open about my faith. I'm a Christian before I'm anything else. I appreciate Terry letting me be who I am. They knew who they were hiring when they hired me. And even at a state school, which makes him probably really uncomfortable sometimes, and Brad Phelps, the attorney, sitting right next to him even more, and Jeff Hankins, you name it, they're all kind of scrunging their seats. They knew, the university doesn't claim to be something it's not. I just try to, I promised my wife, I promised my Lord and Savior, and I promised my family, if given this opportunity, put in a position where I can run a program, I'm going to do it one way. I'm going to put God first. And family is going to be involved in terms of every aspect. If you come around our building, there's kids running around all over the place. Families, wives, and again, I've got to work for the right people to get to do that. Some people won't want me as their coach because of that reason, and I'm perfectly fine with that. But it starts with my faith, and then it's about building a family environment. We got 120 kids. They're all welcome in our home. They've all swim in our pool. They feel comfortable going to the kitchen and getting something out of the fridge. That's just the environment we want to create. It's not for everybody, but it works for us. And I think what you see is if we create that environment, if we put our priorities right, if we really truly put those things first, the football stuff comes easy. I got good coaches. We work hard. We're not afraid of hard work or rolling our sleeves up. And we've recruited good kids. And I think you see we get better and better and better. If everything is in line, the priorities are right, the football part will come easy. And that's really the approach we take.
Coach, a couple things. You mentioned you lost 5. I guess I was unaware. There's 5 starters on your offensive line, and yet you come back and you're still 3-0 in the conference. Talk about how you did that, number one. Number two, the coaching profession. You've been in it for quite a while. You mentioned, Coach Bielema and what he's going through. I know Larry Fedora's having a tough
rough year.
Talk about the pressure and the money and the social media, just how coaching has changed, both for Power 5 and non-Power 5 conferences.
Okay. Just the profession, it's brutal. It's brutal. There is no timeline anymore. 1 year, one game, one season. Heck, you look at NBA basketball, guy got fired after 3 games. 3 games. He may not even know everybody's last name yet. I don't know. It's just the pressure's higher than it's ever. The salaries are higher, the stakes are higher, the pressure's higher than it's ever been, and it just makes it more and more important for you to make sure you align yourself with the right kind of people, the right folks. Work for the right folks. Bielema's going through a rough time. Larry Fedora's going through a rough time. Georgia Southern just fired their coach this week, 6-0. He's in year 2. So. It's when it's good, it's great, and when it's bad, it devastates your whole family. If you got kids or grandkids thinking about going into coaching, better think long and hard before you. It's just a rough business, and not for everybody. Now, I love it. I don't know what else I'd want to do. To me, it's my mission field. It's where God put me. But I know at some point the ride can come to an end, and hey, we just know that God would have something else for us. But I think that the pressure on your kids, on your wife, and now that it's all over social media, it's all over the front page, it's all over ESPN. 20 years ago, it was kind of kept quiet. It would end up in the paper. Now it's national news before you even hear it. I know of coaches' wives that have found out about their coaches being fired before they were be able to be told by their families. I mean, that just shouldn't happen, but it's the nature of the world we live in. I forgot what the other question. Offensive line, 5-0 line, rough. How'd we do it? Just one day at a time. We knew it was coming. There wasn't any way really to prepare for it any other way than just recruiting. We knew that 5 seniors and really 2 backups, really 7 O-linemen graduated. We really liked athletically what we were recruiting, but we knew the inexperience was going to be the biggest issue, and it has been an issue. It's been one of the reasons that we've lost a couple games that we were very capable of winning. Same thing on defense. We graduated the whole back end of our secondary. They didn't tackle very well for about 3 weeks. Now they're starting to tackle really well. Well, they played some games. They've practiced. They've worked. We're the product of inexperience this year, but we're battling through it. It's just there's no fun way. There's no fast way. You just have to go play and live with some of the mistakes, and hopefully they get less and less, and they are. And that's why I say this group of guys, because of how we've improved, I mean, the second half of the season, we got a chance to be a really special football team if we continue on that path. Yes, sir. Well, it's one of the best, best Saturday environments you're going to find. I mean, Terry is, just since I've been there, I came in as a coordinator at a different school years ago, and what it looked like back in 2008, 2009 compared to now, night and day different. The town's probably, close to doubled in size, honestly, in terms of the industry, and then the university just continued. We've added a med school. We've expanded the stadium, luxury boxes, suites, which I know Rex had a chance to see firsthand, are as nice as I came from Carolina, University of North Carolina. What we've got is as nice as anything I saw in the ACC. A brand new indoor facility that we're in all the time. About to break ground on a new end zone complex. You name it, and not just football. Every one of our sports has first-class facilities have been renovated and upgraded. The university just continuing just to do things in terms of the way it looks, the way it operates. From an MBA that's top 10 in the country at this point now, to the study abroad program that nobody else has, to the med school that opened up, to the campus in Mexico. Just very innovative, very forward-thinking, and never okay with just staying still. And he's hired good coaches, and you see every program is competitive. And if you come on a Saturday, you're going to see one of the fastest offenses in the country, a top 10 scoring team, 40-plus a game. A defense that hits a lot of people behind the line of scrimmage, top 10 in both categories, and a fun football game. A fun football game from top to bottom. Even if you don't like football, you just like a lot of fun and a lot of things. We got fire when we're coming out and fireworks when we're scoring. You name it, it's pretty good. I don't know about the food, but Terry could tell you probably got pretty good food too. So anyway, I'd encourage you to come if you can. Yes, sir. Yeah, you always got to teach hand placement. I think the reason it's seen probably more now than it used to be is just there's more space and it's easier to see. When you used to pack, 22 guys in a phone booth and play inside a real limited area, there's a lot of bodies on top of bodies, and it wasn't as easy to see. Now that we're spread out and you see a lot more cloth get pulled out in space, it's just easier to see. Flags get thrown. It's just part of what you got to deal with. Extra ref. We got an extra. Now we're playing with 8 refs instead of 7, so there's one more set of eyes to see it. But it hadn't really slowed the game down. It's still the same game. We just deal with a lot more grass. You keep saying last question, but we got one more. Well, I think reviews are good if it's in the sense of something that couldn't be, officiated, in the tempo of the game. I think the targeting. Obviously, I think as much as we hate to have to go back and review it, the fact that you throw a flag in the heat of a moment from a big collision, but you're not really sure. I think they're probably doing that right, the onside kick. We probably have more reviews than we need, but I know they're trying to get the game right. I think officiating's hard. I would never want to do it. Can't imagine what they're going through, and they're just like us. You got HD TV with 19 different angles, and it can be run back, a million times. They're never going to be right. So, I think they're just trying to do what they can. We just got to play through it. I think probably all the TV timeouts are probably the most frustrating when you got 8 in a game. You have a TV timeout every other series, which really slows the game down. But somebody's got to pay for it, so it's the nature of what we deal with. Hey man, we just try to do our jobs when they tell us to go. You know what I mean? Hopefully we'll be back for year 5. Appreciate you guys.
Blake Anderson. Thanks, Coach. Thanks for being here, everybody. Come up and get your picture made with Coach if you'd like. We'll see you next week for the Southwest Conference Hall of Fame.